The first one was done by a company called Neurosys, located in France, and they specialize in looking at the health and growth of neurons, right? So those are brain and nerve cells. And in this study, we took these nerve cells and incubated them for either 7 or 10 days. And in that longer period, they were actually deprived of growth factors and other things. So it's kind of a way of looking at stressed nerve cells or ones that might be, it's kind of a little bit of an approximation for aging, right? As we age, the cells aren't given all the necessary growth factors that they were given as in younger years. So it's kind of an aged model of sorts for the nerve cells. So in the first study, looking at the healthy normal brain cells, you can see those that were treated with the gold factor showed benefits in the survival of the nerve cells, in the neurite growth, and in synaptic numbers. So let's talk about these last two just a bit. Neurite is the nerve cells, right? So you're seeing the growth of the cells themselves. Now, your nerve cells don't divide and don't duplicate. Right? What you're born with is all that you're going to get. And so it's how they grow and how the neurites are kind of the little connections that they grow from one cell to another. Think of it as kind of like this spider web of sorts, this network between your nerve cells. And as you learn and grow and experience life, it's how the nerve cells connect with each other, that neurite growth, that creates your memories and your kind of personality differences, the way you think and feel and whatnot. It's all based on how one nerve cell connects to another, to another, to another, and creates this network of connections. And so neurite growth is great, and we'll talk a little bit about this as what they call neuroplasticity. It's your ability of your brain to adapt. Right? A good example of this is someone suffers a stroke and you have some nerve cells that die as a part of that. For a while, and maybe for the rest of their life, they'll lose some function. Maybe it's a speech, maybe it's an ability to move an arm or a leg. But in some cases, those things can be relearned, if you will. And that's not because you're growing new nerve cells, but because those neurites, you're creating new connections between existing nerve cells. So very important that you're seeing an improvement in these neurite growth is that your body's, your brain's ability to adapt and change and grow. Synaptic numbers, kind of a related thing to that, right? The synapse is the connection between two nerve cells. So you have the neurites, these little fibrils that go up to each other, and there's a little space between them. They don't quite touch, and that is called the synapse. That's where the nerve cells communicate one with another, and they pass chemicals as a way of transmitting a electrical signal, if you will, through chemicals from one nerve cell to another. So the more synapses means the more connections from one cell to another. So you're seeing the growth of those little fibrils and the number of connections that they have to different nerve cells. Again, going into that plasticity side of things and an ability for your brain and nerve cells to be able to adapt and to kind of improve the quality of your network. Hopefully that all makes sense. I think this is some pretty cool stuff and probably one of the greatest findings associated with gold factor and its ability to support the health and growth of your brains and nerves. So let's talk a little bit about in that stress condition, the kind of pseudo-aged set of conditions here. These, again, the brain cells that were deprived of some of the growth factors that they need. And that you would normally see that a number of the nerve cells die or weaken, and you would see a decrease in the amount of that neurite growth. Well, in this case, you saw that with the gold factor present, those effects were reduced. In other words, you saw less of a drop in the health of the cells and less of a drop in their ability to grow those endings. So not only are you seeing benefits for this in healthy cells or in younger cells, but you're seeing that gold factor can help kind of, in a sense, protect and maintain the youthfulness and health of your brain.